إن الحمد لله وإن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. Indeed, all thanks and praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With each and every breath we take, every second of our lives, for the fact that we are alive another day. Despite of all our shortcomings, He doesn't hold us accountable right away. It is the rahmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even for the fact that we are able to wake up today and pray and gather here together for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is also His rahmah. MashaAllah, la quwwata illa billah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us all steadfast and sincere. So first we must all begin with His praise and gratitude towards Him each and every day. We also seek His help and forgiveness, His pardon every single day. And we must also seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evil within ourselves and the consequences of our evil actions. Indeed, whomever Allah guides will never be led astray, and whomever Allah allows to go astray will never find guidance. So we beg for His forgiveness and His protection and His rahmah, His mercy. I bear witness there is none worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone without any partners. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam is His slave and messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You know, in Sahih al-Bukhari, rahimullah, in his book Kitab al-Janaiz, the funerals, he mentions another chapter of the praising of deceased by the people, Bab Sana'in Nas ala al-Mayyit, an event that happened at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was reported by Anas ibn Malik radhiyallahu anhu that a funeral procession was passing by as Umar ibn Khattab radhiyallahu anhu was with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the people started praising the deceased. And as the people were praising the deceased, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Wajabat, it has been affirmed to him." And right after that, another funeral procession passed by, but the people spoke bad of the deceased. And to that, Rasulullah said, "Wajabat, it has been affirmed to him." Now, Umar ibn Khattab was listening and watching, and he didn't understand what has been affirmed. So he asked Rasulullah, "Ya Rasulullah, ma wajabat? What has been affirmed?" And to that, do you know what Rasulullah said? He said, "You praised this, so Jannah has been affirmed to him. And you spoke badly of this, so Jahannam has been affirmed to him. You people are Allah's witnesses on earth. Ya'ani, of each other. So when somebody passes by, there are people on the earth that he leaves, or she leaves as witnesses. And whoever they leave in dunya behind them has an impact on that person's akhirah." Subhanallah. And there's another hadith that I want to mention. It's mentioned by Sahih Muslim in the Kitab al-Fadail Sahaba radhiyallahu anhum, the book of the merits of the companions, where in the 35th chapter, Muslim rahimullah speaks of the virtues of Abu Huraira radhiyallahu anhu. It is reported by Abu Huraira radhiyallahu anhu that he used to invite his mother to Islam, who was then a mushrikah. Now we know Abu Huraira radhiyallahu anhu had the most reported ahadith attributed to him. But he couldn't convince his mother to accept Islam based on mere knowledge. And there's a lesson in it for us. So he said that he invited his mother, who was a mushrika, to accept Islam. Yani she wouldn't accept. She was not interested. Rather, she would get upset. But he never gave up on her. She was a mushrika, he never gave up on her. What about us? Do we give up on those not so practicing amongst our loved ones? So one day, yet again, he called her towards Islam. But this time she got really upset. And she said something terrible, not only about Islam, but she said something really bad about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Abu Huraira radhiyallahu anhu said that she said to me something about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam which I hated. But then you see, when he saw her in that situation and he saw that her heart was not open to listening at that moment, it would not receive the message, he did not argue with her. He did not respond back to her. He could have, but he didn't, out of love for her, concern for her akhirah. He did not want her to increase in sin. So he left, but with tears in his eyes, for not being able to convince her to accept Islam, for not having his mother save her akhirah. And also out of love for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He couldn't take it. So he quietly left with tears in his eyes. He went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said, Ya Rasulullah, I invited my mother to Islam, but she did not accept. I invited her today, but she said to me something which I did not like. Ya Rasulullah, make dua to Allah that He may set the mother of Abu Huraira right, that He may guide the mother of Abu Huraira. Yani he's speaking about his own mother. He's not disconnecting with her, disassociating with her, not saying, oh, that woman is like this, like that, but make dua to Allah to guide the mother of Abu Huraira. Abu Huraira himself was saying. So Rasulullah made dua. After that, Abu Huraira also made dua, and his heart was at ease, and then he went back home. He said that when he came close to the door of his house, it was closed from inside, and the moment his mother heard his footsteps, she said to him, Ya Abu Huraira, stop, wait. He must have gotten worried. Maybe she's still angry. So he stood there. But then he said that he heard from inside noise of water, and he was curious, he was anxious as to what's going on. But then just in a little while, she opened the door, and he was shocked as to what he saw. She was wearing a khimar, a head covering, with water dripping from her face and hands. And then she said, Abu Huraira, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. Subhanallah. Abu Huraira was so happy. He embraced her, and then he was so happy and delighted he couldn't help but to go back to Rasulullah to inform him of the news. And this time when he was going to Rasulullah, he had tears in his eyes, but tears of joy. And then he told Rasulullah about what happened, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, be happy, For Allah has responded to her supplication, and He has set on the right path the mother of Abu Hurairah. But then he asked for more, even when he was granted one of his greatest wishes. Despite of being so extremely grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he didn't just stop there. We would have. If our greatest wishes came true, be like, okay, alhamdulillah, that's it. But actually, due to the yaqeen of theirs in Allah being al-Ghani, free of all needs, most rich, all capable, their yaqeen in it, they would ask for more. So he asked Rasulullah sallam, after Rasulullah had praised Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it, Abu Hurairah asked him, sallam, Ya Rasulullah, make dua to Allah so that He may instill love of mine and that of my mother in the believing slaves, and let our hearts be filled with their love. And of course, Rasulullah made the dua. And within the lifetime of Abu Hurairah, he used to say that this prayer was so well granted by Allah that no believer was ever born who heard of me and who saw me but did not love me. And subhanAllah, even today, imagine we haven't met them, but we're talking about them. Radiyallahu anhum. Now, besides these two ahadith, I want you to keep in mind something else also. 3 points before I come to the conclusion. Why are we talking about this in the first session? Do you know one of the supplications of Ibrahim alayhi salam, as mentioned in Surah Shu'ara, 26th chapter? Ibrahim alayhi salam had asked Allah, not only that my Lord grant me authority and join me with the righteous, but also وَجَعَلْ لِي لِسَانِي صِدْقٍ فِي الْآخِرِينَ, and grant me a mention, يعني a good reputation, a legacy, a mention of honor amongst later generations. You know what we see from these 3 examples? That a good legacy, asking for it, a good legacy, worrying for it, a good legacy, working towards it, is a good thing, and amongst the sunan of the righteous before us. Then how will you and I be remembered should also be a worry for us, a concern of ours, and something we need to work on, something we need to ask Allah for. Not for fame and not for the sake of maximizing our impact, but to maximize our good deeds. For indeed, it does matter to our akhirah what we leave in our dunya, leave behind us. We need to ask ourselves, how will I be talked about? How will people talk about me when I'm not here? How will they remember me? What legacy am I leaving behind? I mean, even if you look into the last person, that person who passed away that you knew personally, the last person, his life or her life, how do you remember them, if at all? Do you miss them? And why? Did they have any contribution into your life or that of others around? So we should ask ourselves, what legacy will I be leaving behind? Will I be missed, or they'll be glad that I'm not there anymore? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. So what kind of witnesses am I leaving behind? What kind of witnesses are you leaving behind? It should be our concern, because it does matter in akhirah. Now, everybody wants to leave a good legacy behind, of course. But usually, what's the problem? It's a mere wishful thinking. But if we want to change, if we want to start all over again, if we want to reorder our priorities, if we want to rewrite our story, transform our external deeds, We can, and that's why we're here. However, the external change can never be sustainable if there is no internal change. If there's a void within, it will show on you. Internal transformation is way more important than external transformation, but a true internal transformation inevitably leads to a consistent external transformation. It's not possible to just have faith in the heart that doesn't beautify or reflect on you. But then, before we talk about how to transform ourselves, the question is, what do we have to transform into and why? The answer lies not in our opinion, but in our purpose of existence. Purpose not set by us creation, but the Creator. I want you to listen to this very carefully, note it down, and inshallah ta'ala remember it. The more clear your understanding of the purpose of your existence, not the knowledge of the purpose of existence, the understanding of that knowledge of the purpose of your existence, the more clear you are about that, the more clear you will be in your decisions and your goals, your daily decisions, or what you do, what you do not do, what you say and what you do not say, as well as your long-term goals. So basically, your inclinations, the decisions you take daily, as well as your life goals, are a mere reflection of your heart's clarity about your purpose of life or the lack of it. Without having clear understanding of your purpose, you would always end up having incorrect goals, feeling lost, frequently making bad decisions, as well as dissatisfaction and uneasiness in the heart and lack of peace in the mind. But then the solution is, if you truly want to know yourself and know your purpose, you have to know who created you better. The one who sustains you every single day. The one who knows you better than yourself. The one to whom you belong, who's your master, and the one to whom is your return inevitable. The one who has defined your purpose, and he's the only one who will be the judge of your decisions, of your life as a whole. So the question of why do you need to reorder your life? Why do you have to fix your daily routine? Why do you have to eat certain things and not others? Why do you have to dress a certain way and not another? Why do you have to say and do certain things and not others? Why? Telling do's and don'ts about it is easy, but to maintain it and to benefit from it yourself and benefit others, because you cannot pour from an empty glass. You got to have a really good reason, a really strong motivation, a drive that is unshakable to the point that you don't see any wall ahead of you as an obstacle, but rather only a challenge, a test of how bad you want to get to the other side. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to know your Creator better. And this is why, while we have our brief evening sessions on purification of soul, in the mornings we'll be having our brief sessions on the basis, the foundation of it, as to why do we need to purify our souls and why do we have to fix our lives. Getting to know our Creator better through His names and attributes mentioned in the Quran and Ahadith as understood by the first 3 Muslim generations. This is what we'll be doing every morning throughout this month of Sha'ban. I hope and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we benefit from these sessions sincerely and remain steadfast upon it. And I ask Him to accept it from us, to protect us, and to help us benefit not only ourselves but those around us, inshallah ta'ala. And in the meantime, your first activity is to write in the group, how will you want to be remembered? What legacy you want to leave behind, inshallah ta'ala. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك واشهد ان لا اله الا انت واستغفرك واتوب اليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.